So we knew going into marriage that we wanted a big family and that we were going to have our own biological children. The movies and life just makes it seem so easy. So we just thought we were just going to jump right into it. When we were told that we couldn't have our own biological children, it was heartbreaking. It just pumped the brakes on everything. It just was not what we had planned. We had different plans for what we wanted as a family, what we wanted our family to look like. And we wanted biological children. And most people desire that as well. So Nick and I got married, and we decided that we wanted to go ahead and start a family almost immediately, which ended up being a little bit harder than what we had anticipated. I have 5 blood disorders, so that put a halt on things pretty quickly. So we kind of stepped back, regrouped, and decided adoption was the route for us.
Starting the adoption side of things, we did our research, but I was still struggling because I wanted that feeling of having a biological child and didn't know if even via adoption that I would still fall in love with them and they would be able to fall in love with me. But then I went on my first missions trip and I fell in love with the children and just noticed at that point that I could still fall in love with them, they could fall in love with me, that having the child biologically didn't change anything. So on June 30th of 2017 is when we became paper pregnant, which means that we're now ready to be viewed by families. So we ended up, in the end, offering ourselves up 16 different times to be viewed. During this process, you put yourself out there for a family to look at your profile, and you secretly at home are so excited because you just know this is the one. And then the email comes and just lets you know that they selected another family.
Nick and I sat back and talked about not wasting our waiting time, and so I decided to go ahead and start an access group for moms in waiting, because infertility can be such a dark, lonely journey. It's not talked about a lot. My Moms in Waiting access group started on February 8th. That morning, we had received an email at about 11:30 letting us know that there was a situation to consider for immediate placement of a baby boy who was healthy that was showing signs Down syndrome. So Nick and I decided to go ahead and have our book shown.
But we didn't know when we would hear back. So that night, I just go ahead and I left the house so Jen could do her access group.
At about 6:27, I received a phone call right as my small group was starting that we had been picked by this birth mom. This was the phone call that we'd been waiting for so long, and here it is the night of my small group. So when we got to the hospital, we thought we were going to go upstairs and meet Nash immediately, and instead we had to do paperwork. He had to go and have some tests run. So we're in the room with our birth mom for probably at minimum an hour before Nash comes in. The moment that Nash was wheeled into our room was the most incredible feeling. Our birth mom actually took him out of the bassinet and handed him to me, which was the coolest thing ever. The feelings I have for Nash in that moment when our birth mom hands him over to me are just so unexplainable. We had talked about in the past how we knew we were going to love him, but was it like immediate? What does that bond look like? And it was like immediate, like, oh my gosh, this is my son. This is our son. Like, he's ours. And the love that we had in that moment was just indescribable.
It's just you're overwhelmed with love because he's mine. That's my child.
It's amazing to see the type of love that adoption is.